This is an action Taimanin tier list review. We're going to be going over a few tier lists people have made to see how accurate or inaccurate they are. And there are just a few tier lists from the tier maker, and they're probably the most popular or most recommended on the. These are the ones that just popped up. They're this one's. We're going to go over this one, then this one, then this one. Then there was a fourth one after that. We're going to start with this one. This one has the tiers of outstanding, great, average, mediocre, and weak. And already looking at that, where they have weak, Aina is probably goes more into the great. So this one's already inaccurate. I was gonna start from the top down, but actually with Aina, I mean that's really bad right there. Next one's going, like I said, Aina would probably go into the great category. I put her into the great because she has a lot of damage output, but then she has a little bit of healing, and that's why she doesn't go to outstanding, because she's better than average. Then next category is the mediocre, and I know a lot of people tend to put Kirara into the mediocre, but I mean she's closer to, like, I'd say like a little bit above average, but almost great, because I mean she pretty much has her Kojinka witch time or freeze time skill, which slows down and debuffs defense. So that, I mean, I don't know, this person might have skill issue with Aina and these characters, because these three characters actually should be closer to the great range. Just like Aina, Kirara hits hard and also debuffs, like I said, and slows down. I mean, the only thing she's missing is sustain, which, I mean, she's a really good character. I would put her in she's above average. I mean, she hits great, but the bottom part of great. And now for Nagi, I say she hits great. A lot of people also, maybe it's skill issue or just don't know how to build her, but she has outstanding sustain. I mean, her healing ability it's one of the better healing abilities, because on blue, her healing ability heals her, but at the same time it's a percentage of damage done. But when you do that same skill of the damage done for the healing, it also it buffs itself with attack. So as soon as you do the skill, she gets buffed with attack, and then it's multiple hit. So the damage it does, she can heal like really good, like really good. So I mean, I say she already hits great on her own already. And then again, okay, now we're moving over to average, and over here another big mistake. Murasaki in average. Why? I mean, she goes into outstanding already. I mean, she has several skills. I mean, if somebody almost one-shots her, gets her to like 20% of her health, in like one skill, she can almost get either all of it or close to all of it. I mean, she's the immortal Taimanin. I mean, she might not be the funnest to play, but if let's say you have skill issues, or you have like you're playing on a bad phone that doesn't respond very well to the touch, she will get you through a lot of things on that. And then if you're playing on a really good phone that like the touchscreen is perfect and the processor can handle all the inputs without lag, or if you're playing on PC, I mean, she will dominate. So I have no idea why this person would put her in average at all. She goes to outstanding. Like I said, she's pretty fun to play, but some of her more fun builds are not her most powerful builds. And her more powerful builds, that goes for across like most of the characters, their most powerful builds usually aren't their most fun builds, but there are some that do have fun builds that are powerful. Like coming up with this Noah. A lot of people put her average to lower, but I say she's on the upper side of average. She has some sustain, but it's not too good, and her sustain's not really good. So like I said, I wouldn't put her, I don't know if I would put her in great. Her player versus player arena build is blue, and some people run blue on player versus everybody on PvE, but I think her PvE build is best red, and it's also really powerful, and it's also the most fun to play because the blue just keeps her stationary and just taking you're just trading hits like she's Murasaki, but she can't heal as good as Murasaki, so it's not as fun. But the red, you keep running around and running around and running around, and she's also very powerful. It's like she's hard to hit, just like the next person, Micah. She can be an annoying player to play if you use the charge attacks, which it's kind of different, but it keeps her stationary too. And on this game, if you stay stationary, I mean, you're just gonna be attacked from all over. In the lower levels, like easy, medium, even in hard, it's not too much of a problem. But you start doing like a VR or tower, where you stay in one spot, all the enemies will just totally take you out real quick. You have to keep moving in this game again, which is why I said you either need to play on PC or have a really good phone, because if you have a bad phone, you're gonna have a bad experience with a lot of these characters. And that might be why he's putting some of these characters lower, because maybe he's playing on a bad phone. But some of these characters, like, I mean, even on a bad phone, Murasaki would dominate. Like I said, it might just be just skill issues, not being able to build them correctly. And for her, she doesn't have sustain, and she hits really hard. And I'd say they almost go into great. They're above average, but they're not quite great. Like I don't like this whole weak, mediocre, average, great, and outstanding he's set up. Like this one. Well, this one says mommy. I guess we're gonna go over the mommy tier list, and then this one shows broken. So we're gonna see how those tier lists break out. But right now, Aina should be in great. So should Nagi. Kirara should be in there should be another between these two, because she's above average but she's not quite great. Murasaki is an outstanding. Noah and Micah both are in between great and average. The next character I would to go is Kurenai. Kurenai, again, she is really good, but to balance her, what they did, the developers did, was they gave her a stun lock, to where some of these covers, some of these other characters, they get hit and they can recover really quick. Like as soon as they get hit, they're already recovering. Like Murasaki, Nagi, a few of them, as soon as they get hit, if you can recover right away. Kurenai and her sister Felicia have a long like when they get hit, they flinch and they don't recover right away. And that, I guess, that was done to balance them out, but you have to build around them doing that long recovery. And so a lot of her moves don't have any type of armor or anti-flinch. So it's because some of the skills, like even if a weak enemy barely touches you, they'll hit you out of a skill. Some of the skills, like they have some type of super armor or something for real quick, and it takes a lot to actually knock them out. I think I've seen almost all the skills. If it's like a boss that hits you with their really hard attack, they can knock you out of doing the skill. But on average, medium to low attacks, they won't knock people out of skills. But in Kurenai, even light attacks a lot of times will knock her out of starting the skill. And so with that in mind, she does have some pretty good sustain. I would put her probably in great. She's not like outstanding, but she's in great. But like I said, with her stun lock, like Felicia being sisters, they both suffer the same thing. They have like a stun lock, and That's what I would like it's a low grade. Probably above Noah and Micah, but not by much. It would probably be in the same tier, and between average and great. Even though she has a good sustain and good skills, but like I said, that flinch alone, it keeps her from being great. But at the same time, I kind of like that, because if they made all the characters powerful, it wouldn't be, I don't know if it having to do, like, again, it gives people reasons to do tier lists just like this, and so it's fine. She's an okay character, because you can make some builds, and then there's supporters like her supporter that gets rid of, like, when she gets hit, it actually like makes her invisible for a few moments, or invincible for a few moments, because they knew she had a bad stun lock. But honestly, it's fine. You can make some builds around it. You can actually select all her skills where she has a very low flinch, and you can get around it. But it's more trying to get around it. That's the harder part, figuring it out. So that's where she will go, between great and average. Now, one of the newer members, Shisui. She is an outstanding character. She hits hard, and a lot of the enemies go for her. But she has her stand guardian that just has a bodyguard that just like bodies everybody and stops them from getting to her, and she heals like crazy. The only other person that might have a better, I don't even know who has a better healing, Murasaki or Shisui, because they both heal very, very well. I don't know whose is better, because both of them can be at 20, and then they just do that one heal skill, and both of them will be either near full health or real close to it. And so they are really hard to beat, and they will get you through a lot of content. Shisui isn't as fun to play as other characters, but if you do a good build, she can be pretty fun, but she will survive. She goes in outstanding on this tier list. She belongs in outstanding. The next character on this is Shizuru. Shizuru has poor sustain, but I mean, she has some actual really good SR weapons too. One for humans, one for machines, and she has a lot of debuffs, and so she can. It needs another category, because she's pretty much great, but not quite there. But she's above average. She is above average, and I know I'm putting a lot of them, but again, I should have said this in the beginning, this is more of a tier list when you're getting close to like level 75, because if it was lower levels, some of these characters really do suck at lower levels, but I'm giving it at about level 75 when they have all their skills maxed out. And like I said, she would be between average and great. Now the next category, great. Saruka. Now, I would keep her there. When you first get her, she is not very good. You have to get her close to like level 60, but once she gets to level 60, her defense is up, and so is her attack, and her sustain is actually very, very good, and her blue build actually, and some of her other builds too, she comes alive at like a level close to like level 70. So I mean, at level 70 she is great. Like at 60 and below, she's probably mediocre. She'll probably be mediocre, and that's probably why a lot of people put her lower. But she comes alive at this level. Next one being Felicia. Felicia is pretty powerful. She has great sustain. Like, she's like her sister. She has a lot of she flinches a lot, but she has a high sustain, and if you keep her mobile and moving, she belongs in great too. She's not quite outstanding, but she's in great. You do have to get build specific on her, and when you play her, you have to keep moving a lot. but she can easily hit great with just regular supporters and skills. She's one of the only characters that goes really good with a mixed build color supporters. Almost all of them you have to go a full color. There's a few that you can, but I mean on average not. And then next one we have everybody's favorite gremlin, Yukikaze. She can go into outstanding. She has it's just pretty much just her green build. All the other builds she would probably be average, but in green she has high sustain and she's range, so she can get in and out, and so she's not too hard to build either. And it's just green, and a lot of people don't put her in outstanding, but I probably would, because she's above great, but maybe she's not quite outstanding, but she gets close to outstanding, that she can beat a lot of the content and do it safely being ranged. But then her high heal gets her, I mean, she can heal really good. Her healing is pretty high too as well. So she would go into I will barely put her into outstanding. Next one on this list I would say is Asagi. I would say great, because she has a sustain move, but it's not very good, so she needs some sustain. But with her Kojinka, she can control a lot of the battle and control all the enemies, just like Kirawa. But I mean, she's actually pretty good, pretty good. I would keep her in great. She's not outstanding. She's above average. She's pretty good from the beginning, because like she doesn't hit very hard, but like I said, she will just like whittle away enemies and then eventually take them down. That's the only part about her that's not very good. She doesn't hit too hard, so she will survive, but it's gonna be a long fight. Oboro on the next one is, she's not quite great, and she has no sustain. She hits really hard, and she can kind of control it with her hypnosis, control the battle, but she needs sustain. I would say she needs sustain, because a lot of her moves make her get up close, but she doesn't have high defense, but she does hit really hard. If you can attack and get away and hit with your powerful moves, you can end enemies before they even hurt you. But I mean, if she gets hit, you have to keep moving her, because she's not too much of a brawler. She's more of like a quick attack type character. You get in, get all your hits, and then get the heck out if you haven't killed them yet. So she's between average and great. With some sustain, she could probably get like higher, but she's about average and great. But she, like I said, if you can get her to she hits hard. If you can get her to hit harder, I mean, she can probably finish a battle without any sustain, and you'll be fine. But you do have to play well. The next character is Sue. She's pretty fun to play. She has lots of types of builds that you can go with. You have to keep moving fast. She hits pretty hard, and she has some pretty good defense. I will keep her at, again, between average and great, because she's very build specific, and sometimes you'll have a hard time with her. And again, she's kind of like a brawler, kind of like Murasaki, but since she doesn't have like any type of sustain or heal, she will take a lot of hits, which is why she goes up with defense. But some of these battles with some of these bosses, it'll take the longer a battle goes, the more Sue and Oboro will their flaws will show, because they need to finish a fight fast, since they have no sustain. So I would keep her at about average and great. Now the next one is Sora. Sora has great sustain, but I will keep her in great. She's ranged. She's maybe not the most fun to play, but again, a ranged character keeps you safe, and then she has a really good sustain. It's not the best, but it's a really good sustain. She can just stay battling. She will go into great. Now Rinko is another one that I think is ranked way too high. I would say she's average. She has to be very build specific with the very specific gear, very specific supporters, very specific skills in order to make her shine. And even with everything, you get all the things right, she's about just great. But without giving her everything specific, I would say she's just average. And she's probably one of the first ones I would probably put into average. Because everybody, like I said, most up to now has been between great and average. But I would put Renko at about average. Now, I know a lot of people will be disappointed with that. And she's one of the first characters I really liked also. And I got her, and then I think I got her to like level 40, and it's like she hits a wall. It's a different wall now since the game's gotten older, but it's like she hits a wall at a certain part of the game, and you have to give her a lot of, like, build the heck out of her to get past that wall. I mean, she changes when you get to like level 81, but she never, if you give most of the other characters the best gear, the best supporter, the best enchanting, everything, they'll all maybe get to like outstanding. But Rinko only with everything will just get to great. Like I said, I know a lot of people won't like hearing that, because I mean, she's one of the main waifus in the game, but that's why I'm also disappointed, because I really liked her. But like, she is fun to play, but if you put the amount of investment into her, and you put the same amount into any other character, they will outshine her. I'm not saying that she won't be great, like I said, but everybody will probably get close to outstanding if you give them like sustained supporters, and she's, like I said, so I would place her in average. I would also place, and this is another one that I'm one of my favorite characters too, Asuka. She's one of my favorite characters, but I would also put her in average. And they should have given her more speed buffs, because she's supposed to be a quick character. But just like Rinko, they've both had several rebalances, but they're just missing something. This person has Rinko and Asuka in great, and like I said, I don't like doing this because like Asuka's one of my favorite characters, but she's just average. She is just average. And she's real fun. Rinko and her are both fun to play, but they are just average. Like I said, if you get them some good supporters, they'll get to, how do I say, Asuka is probably get to great. She won't get to outstanding either. And they're both average. I'll move these to average. And like I said, they're both awesome. Beautiful characters, fun to play, but they are not in the same level as the other characters. That moves me over to the next character, which also suffers from the same thing. He put all three characters all together that kind of suffer from the same thing. If you build her, she can get to great. She can be like high grade, Tokiko. But I mean, just like Asuka and Rinko, she has to be built very well. It's like you have to give them three the best of the best for them to shine. And they do shine, but you have to wax them a lot. And I'd say from these three, I'd say Tokiko with her debuffs probably outshines them just a little bit more. And that's funny because a lot of people actually keep Tokiko lower than Asuka and Rinko, but I'd say Rinko, then Asuka, then Tokiko, and the top is Tokiko, then Asuka, then Rinko. And they're all average. And again, this person put them in great, and I mean, they're like a low average. Like they're okay, but like I said, Any of these characters, you can build the heck out of them, get them close to outstanding or to outstanding, but these 3 characters would just go to great on this tier list. And then that brings us to the last one in great, and that is Rose. And Rose, I would say, is a high grade, almost outstanding. I mean, she's fast paced. A lot of people think she's slow, but if you've built her wrong, yeah, she's slow. But I mean, she can be very quick and be all over the battlefield, all over the level, just killing enemies left and right. And her heal is actually it's a decent heal, but since she moves a lot and she hits hard, you won't be healing very often. So the healing for her is more than adequate. I mean, when I use her, she's almost always at full health, and she doesn't get hit very often. So I would put her at almost outstanding. That leaves us with the outstanding, and they put Emily in outstanding, and Emily has great heal. She has 2 heal moves, and the healing field is okay. It heals her pretty good. The gravity hold move on all blue heals a lot. It heals a lot, and if you put those 2 moves on her, she will, I mean, it's hard to kill her, but again, there are certain enemies that you come across that are real tanky, and if she stays in one spot trying to trade blows with them, eventually they will win, because that's one of the bad things about Emily, is that she cannot move, she cannot dodge, and so she will just it's like she's kind of like playing like Murasaki, just trading blows. But unlike Murasaki, she doesn't heal as much, even though she has great healing, so she will eventually lose one of those, because Murasaki, if you are losing, she has a double dash, so she can actually get away. Emily only has a single, and even if you try to get away from the big boss characters, you're still going to be within their range where they still hit you, and so she will end up losing a close quarter fight. Anything ranged, she will dominate, but if it's like real close, a boss that has a high reach, she can stay there trading for a while, but at some point she's gonna need to get away, and with her single dodge, she's not gonna do very well. So I would put her like great. She's like at the top of great or at the bottom of outstanding. Man, she's not. One of the other things is I'll drop her even to great, because she's not very fun to play. She's not the worst. She's close to the worst of playing, because she's okay. She's not too fun, but I mean, she's Emily. She has her uses, her auto farming, her she can get you through a lot of content. She'll get you a lot of coins in arena. She's good all around character for the game. For like I said, you just want to just have her auto farm. She's a utility character. The next person is Astaroth, and she hits really hard, but if she doesn't have the worst defense, but she has a weird normal attack where she just aims one way, and so that puts her in a situation where she gets hit a lot, and so she doesn't have a lot of defense, but her play style makes it to where she gets hit a lot, and so she has no sustain. She hits really hard, but she gets hit a lot too, and so she does not go in outstanding. She belongs in like great. I would say great, because like I said, she needs, I mean, there's some builds that you can give her to, it'll buff her defense, and then if you give her sustain, that'll get her real close to outstanding if you give her some sustain and some defense. But like I said, I'm not going with the best, because if you can get pretty much everybody to outstanding with the best of the best, but I'm talking about just average gear that you've gotten them, not average, but pretty good gear, but not the best. So she would go into great. Shiranui is another one that belongs in outstanding. You can play her ranged, you can play her melee. She has an incredible sustain and healing. She has like she has 2 moves, and they both heal a lot. She hits hard. Her defense isn't the best, but it's not the worst. It's like middle defense, but with her sustain and with her ability to heal, I mean, she'll survive almost everything. And so she belongs in outstanding. Next one is Rin. Rin. She's almost outstanding. She's like between great and outstanding. She's like right at the edge, and I'd say she's like right in the middle of outstanding and great, because she has real good sustain. But unlike Shiranui, Rin has to get in a little bit closer, and that's where she can get hit. And her sustain is pretty good. I mean, it's like, it's on the higher end of the sustain, but it's not the best sustain. But she is fast. You can make her a little bit faster, but she's pretty good. She can control the level of the battlefield, the enemies. But a lot of her moves require her to get real close, and so that's where she can get hit a little bit more, and she won't get through as much content as Shiranui or Murasaki or Shizui. They will just dominate everything. And so she goes between outstanding and great. Next one is Ingrid. This person has Ingrid in outstanding. Ingrid, when she first came out, she was, I would say, like above mediocre. Like she was in mediocre, but she was barely getting out of mediocre, because I mean, she wouldn't move forward, and she would barely attack right in front of her. And there were so many times when you would try to attack an enemy and they're like just in front of you, and she would not advance. All the other characters advance a little bit when they attack, but she wouldn't. She would pretty much stay in one spot. And she hits hard, but she has like the lowest defense in the game, or one of the lowest. This just might be the lowest, but I mean, she was pretty much mediocre. Then they changed her, and they gave her like a slight buff, and they moved her to, I would say, close to great, from a little bit above average to great. But again, she has no sustain, and I mean, some of her builds, she actually went, I say when they when they buffed her, they moved her to great. Recently they rebalanced her again and changed some of her moves, and she stayed at great. She really didn't move up or move down. All they did was buff some of the colors. Like red was buffed, and pretty much blue and green were just like sidestepped. They really weren't buffed, but they weren't nerfed either. They were just changed the way they work. But I say red was increased a lot. But again, she's still good. She would be at great. She wouldn't be and she doesn't belong in outstanding. The only one that belongs in outstanding on his tier list is probably Shiranui, and so that's a review of this tier list.